Well, let's take a look at effective flash lighting for interior photos. If you take a lot of interior photos, consider getting a camera with a hot shoe so an external flash can be used. External flashes are much more versatile than tiny built-in flashes. Many can bounce the flash off the wall, providing more natural and diffused light, free from harsh shadows. Photograph the interior on a bright but overcast day. This prevents streams of stark sunlight from entering the room. Get the room well lit, even when using a flash. Turn on as many room lights as possible, though make sure none will be in direct view of the camera lens. For the best possible inside illumination, combine lighting sources. Let natural light with outside enter the room to augment the artificial light. How about to enable an acceptable depth of field while maintaining good contrast in the image? To balance the internal and external light levels so as to show the view through the window and not have it overexposed completely is also a good idea. The use of a flash can be particularly effective to balance a dark foreground with a bright background. For example, a window light. It can also help to light through a doorway and give a sense of life and light into another room. Of course, an issue dear to the heart of any photographer is reflections, and interior photography is no exception. Apart from the obvious dangers of windows, look for nasty highlights in TV screens, pictures, and even silver tableware. To minimize the chance of reflections, position a light near the camera or far left or right of the subject is a good start. Rooms with full-length windows are virtually impossible to light normally, so slowly lower any window coverings if available, or use cross-lighting if you've got the space. Don't overcomplicate the situation. One light is generally enough in most situations. Firstly, consider why you're lighting the room and reflect on whether you've achieved the goal. In fact, if you don't need the flash, don't use it. The flash is your friend. As mentioned previously, lighting makes the shot. With this in mind, flash is a must in many situations where lighting is dim or you need to balance daylight and indoor lights to make a natural scene. Small portable flashes are great for quickly setting and spreading light in a dark or underlit room. I also use larger strobe units. Larger units allow for a greater distribution of light, but can be bulky and a hassle to set up. Know your setting beforehand to choose the best solution for each situation. For best results, I typically aim the flashes or strobes at a flat surface such as a wall or ceiling off camera. This acts as a large softbox and projects the light through the room. Be careful not to bounce the light off bold colored walls such as deep blues, reds, and purples. This could cause some of the tint to reflect, causing a red light in the picture almost like a flash was gelled. The key to good lighting is trial and error. As every room is different and every light source is different, start by setting up your shot on a tripod with no lights and then add one light at a time and check your results. Well, let's take a look at the flash as your enemy. While flashes can be very helpful, they can also be your worst nightmare. An off-camera flash can be a powerful thing that must be used wisely. As I mentioned earlier, I like to try using natural light sources first and then see what needs to be lit with a flash. Natural light can sometimes get the job done, but you may need to bracket your exposure and edit in Adobe Photoshop to ensure the picture looks perfect. When you shoot with no flashes, you're at the mercy of the weather and natural lighting. One way to help shoot with just natural light is to shoot with longer exposure time, such as a few seconds. This allows the camera to soak up the light, but be careful. This can easily blow out the windows and doors. Sometimes the best light can be the one around you. So always look first and see what your canvas presents before setting everything up. It might save you a long setup. A way that you can use flash painting is to simply set the camera to the force flash setting. This tells the camera that even if it thinks there's plenty of light, to flash anyway. Now, you have the same effect of light compensation as the first way of lighting by tricking the camera. Hotspots are found all over the interior of the home. When shooting interior rooms, always be careful of shooting a room where the sunlight is coming into the room toward you. If you have no other option, always overexpose the shot so that the room comes out the way that it should and the exterior is overexposed. Light painting can be used to create unique, one-of-a-kind photographs and may offer you the creative edge you've been seeking. What's the required equipment? Well, a camera capable of long exposures, at least 8 seconds. Traditional film cameras can be used, or digital cameras, for these results. A sturdy tripod, a flashlight, and or spotlight that can be quickly turned off and on with ease. A completely dark room or area where no outside light will intervene with your exposure. When choosing an outside area, try to stay away from street lights and areas where car headlights could inadvertently expose your image. Here's a hint. Using car headlights intentionally works well on large outside scenes. When light painting, it's beneficial to wear dark clothing. Just as you would shoot in a dark location, wearing dark clothes allows you to freely move in and out of the composition frame of your image without detection. The concept of painting with light is just that. You use a flashlight as your main source of illumination to expose or paint selected areas of a scene with light. Though ordinary household flashlights can be used, I prefer to use Inova brand flashlights as their color temperature is balanced to daylight, that's 5500 K or Kelvin, and the light beam is evenly distributed. For larger areas such as outdoor scenes, you can use a 2 million candle battery operated spotlight. A 1 million candle spotlight doesn't produce sufficient light output for outdoor scenes, thus requiring a longer exposure of 60 to 90 seconds, as opposed to a 30-second exposure using a 2 million candle spot. Most spotlights are tungsten balanced, or 3200 K, therefore be sure to set your camera's white balance to tungsten. Let's get painting. With your camera secure on a tripod and set to manual, adjust your exposure to 15 seconds at f5.6. That's a safe starting point. Next, set your long exposure noise reduction to the on position to minimize noise. I find it useful just to leave this function on whenever I shoot. There's nothing worse than creating the perfect light-painted image, finding that it's filled with noise. With your overhead lights on, pre-focus on your subject, then carefully turn off the camera's autofocus so the camera isn't trying to refocus in the dark. If you're indoors, you'll be moving about in total darkness. Therefore, be familiar with your surroundings so you don't trip on something and hurt yourself. With the lights off, activate your camera's self-timer. 5 seconds is adequate. By pressing the shutter, when your shutter opens, start painting the selected areas of your scene with your flashlight by turning it on and off in short bursts, continually keeping the light moving during the exposure. Keeping your light source moving and painting only on the selected areas will give your image a soft, painterly feel. Properly done, light painting will make your audience jaw drop, wondering how you got that ethereal light illumination effect. The best places to use this type of photography is the exterior, family room, master bedroom, and storage areas such as attics and basements. If you take a lot of inside photos, consider getting a camera with a hot shoe so an external flash can be used. And properly done, light painting will make your audience's jaw drop, wondering how you got that ethereal light illumination effect.